For Em's birthday this year, we decided to spoil ourselves at Lake Argyle Resort. It's only 70 kilometres or so from our home in Kununurra. As well as soaking up all the luxury on offer at the resort, we also intended to explore a small four-wheel drive track that heads down towards the spillway near Panakin Bay, right down to the banks of Lake Argyle. The resort is home to the famous Argyle Infinity Pool, and I'm calling it, it's the best pool I've ever been in. Absolutely perfect for the hot November temperatures. The resort has a bar and restaurant which does absolutely top-notch food, especially given its remote location. Yep, there was no chance we were going either hungry or thirsty this weekend. We were lucky enough to see a passing Kimberley storm put on a spectacular light show, which reminded us that the wet season is well and truly on its way. After a hearty breakfast the next morning, we set off in search of the four-wheel drive track that we'd heard about, that heads down roughly from where the spillway bridge on the Lake Argyle Road is, down towards the banks of the Lake Argyle Dam. It's not an easy track to find, but after some perseverance, we located the entrance and we set off in a southerly direction towards the banks of Lake Argyle along Panakin Bay. At the time of our visit, the track didn't appear to be particularly well used, and it consisted of a number of creek crossings and really rutted out sections. I imagine this would be fairly difficult in the wet season after big heavy rains, and I imagine some of these sections would be very boggy and difficult to negotiate. As you get closer to the banks of the dam, the imposing skyline of the Carboyd Ranges comes into view. We also came across this herd of wild brumbies, which appeared to be frolicking around and making the most of the day just like we were. And suddenly it appeared, the combination of blue water, blue sky and red rock that we all come to think of when we imagine Lake Argyle. With the low water levels at present, it was actually quite difficult to get to the very banks of Lake Argyle. The water levels had receded enough to leave a lot of boggy, marshy flats, and we didn't really fancy taking on those. You didn't want to get bogged down here. It's a long way from help, and there's not a lot to winch off. We spent a little bit of time by the shore, and I was even brave enough to venture into the shallows for a quick dip. The water was almost lukewarm bath water. It didn't cool down until you got a long way out. For those of you who are wondering, there aren't any saltwater crocodiles in Lake Argyle, or so we've been told. There are 25,000 estimated freshwater crocodiles that call this place home, but they're not particularly aggressive or lethal, so I was willing to take my chances. After about an hour, we headed back to the resort for a bit more luxury. So that's the end of this video of our trip to the banks of Lake Argyle. I'll leave you with these stunning photos of the scenery, and all I can say is that if you have the opportunity to see this place, I hope you check it out. As I said, this track isn't easy to find, but your perseverance is well rewarded. So take care of yourselves, Look out for the next video from More Beer Than Barra, and we hope to see you out on the tracks sometime soon.